The following is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com. This live video stream is made possible in part by WLCN's live stream technology sponsor, Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, and online at merealty.com. We are live on the air for the 4 p.m. 411 here with, now I actually typed out some information. I did a formal introduction, so let me make sure I actually call this up before I introduce our guests. So in history, when you think of Amelia Earhart, she was the first female to fly across the Atlantic. Madame Curie, the first female to win the Nobel Prize. Sandra Day O'Connor, the first female Supreme Court Justice. Sally Ride, the first American woman to fly in space. And today with us, we have a female who has accomplished a first, and it is Savannah Conrady. I said it correctly? Okay. And she is the first firefighter for the female firefighter, I should say, for the city of Lincoln. So, Savannah, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Sure thing. Folks, if you have questions, feel free to send us an email, 4pm411 at wlcnonline.com. Or you can call us on the studio line, 217-648-5011. Now I'm blanking on the 5510. I knew I had the number wrong. So studio line 648-5510, area code 217, of course. So Savannah is here to talk with us about her experience as becoming the first female firefighter for the city of Lincoln. So I know, as I mentioned to you on the air beforehand, we've had actually the last couple police chiefs on who've talked about the shortage of people in there and the application process involved to become a police officer. And they mentioned that from the time they receive an application and go through all the, checking references and psychological evaluation and so forth, send the candidate to the academy, it can be almost a year before that person, from the time they apply to the time they actually hit the street. So I'm wondering, in your training to become a firefighter, was that a similar type of a time process, I guess?
It's close to that. We still have to do a lot of physical tests before we are able to get the phone call for our job.
Okay.
So we have to go take a CPAT test, and it's a physical agility test that is the longest 10 minutes and 28 seconds of your life. But
really?
It's definitely a very good physical test. And you have to take that before. If you pass that, then, and depending on where you're at on the list, then you can get the phone call for the job.
Okay. You called that a CPAT test?
Yep,
CPA?
a CPAT. Yep, okay. A CPAT test.
Okay. And is it is it a secret what that is, or can you tell us what's involved?
No, so you have to do, just starting out, you'll go on like a stair climber for 3 minutes and 20 seconds, and you have 75 pounds on you. Then you'll get some of that weight taken off you after that, and then you'll have 25 pounds with you the rest of the exam.
Oh, wow.
You'll go through an obstacle course they have for you, like you hose drag, pulling hoses, carrying big power tools around, raising ladders, lowering ladders, forcible entry props, crawling through mazes, carrying the rescue dummies we have, and then stuff that's like an overhaul type thing of pulling down some weights and pushing weights up.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it's definitely a hard test. The first time I took it, when I applied for Lincoln, the first time, actually 3 years ago I applied, but I did not pass the physical test because I didn't realize how hard the test was. Mm-hmm. But then it definitely opened my eyes up to realize how much work I got to really put into this. So it gave me time to 2 years I had to wait to reapply once they expired that list. Mm-hmm. So before I went and took this physical test, I actually hired a trainer, and because the first test I took, I did a session, so I had 4 tries on this one, did not pass. I'm okay, I was right there, so I was okay, obviously I'm getting close. Mm-hmm. So hired someone to help me for 2 weeks before I went and took my second to last one, and I passed on that one. So that was definitely a very good feeling to pass that.
Yeah, I'm sure. And just to be clear, obviously you're female, but it's a single test, correct?
Yep,
it's not
it does not matter. Mm-mm.
One for males and one for females.
Nope.
No,
it does not matter. Mm-mm.
So Wowzer. You made me tired just telling me everything that was involved with it. So then after passing the test, then what was sort of the next steps in the process?
So then it worked out when I got hired. I only had to wait a couple weeks so I would work like 40-hour weeks at the firehouse just until I could go to academy. And then so I left, actually it was crazy, it was a year ago, September 12th, I left to go to academy. Wasn't sure what to expect. Like, a lot of people were like, oh, it's the hardest thing ever, but then other people are like, it's what you make of it. And I mean, I had a lot of fun going. A lot of people say I'm crazy for saying that because they always say you never want to go back, but I'd go back any day.
Really?
I enjoyed every minute of it. I mean, we had started with 64 people, and we only lost a handful of people, which is really good.
Oh, nice.
But you're gone for 10 weeks every day except for on the weekends over in Champaign at IFSI. And I mean, we're working every morning through the evenings, and then we're doing on our 4th week and 6th week we do night burns, and we kind of put everything together that we've learned and get to do a lot of fun scenarios. And then after that was over and we all graduated from that, then stayed over for another 2 weeks to do hazmat and a VMO class.
Wow. Okay. So you mentioned the physical test you had to pass, and then going to the academy. I'm guessing the academy is not just physical training, but also there's some, not necessarily academic, but a lot of learning that goes on as well.
Yes, we would sit and do a lot of classwork in the mornings, and then, I mean, you were constantly reading through your book, doing homework every night. I mean, there was a little sleep that was definitely being had there, but because then you were back at 6 in the morning every morning. So.
And so what types of things, as far as classes, are you learning about? Like fires and accelerants, or are you learning about like the equipment you'll use, or is it all of the above?
They try to teach you some equipment stuff, but that's more when you go back to your own department, because everyone uses something different, and everyone calls everything something different. Depends on where you come from. But other than the academic stuff, I mean, it was just like hose drags, like how to do certain things, like how to attack a fire a certain way, like how to rescue people out of a building, just stuff to prepare us for our everyday, for whatever we can encounter on the job.
Sure. Okay. Once again, we're talking with Savannah Conrady, who is the first female firefighter for the city of Lincoln. 217-648-5510, the number to call if you have questions, or you can send us an email, 4pm411@wlcnonline.com. So Savannah, what's your background like? What made you get interested in becoming a firefighter?
Well, it's definitely not something my family, anyone's ever done. I'm the only one that's ever gone in this line of work. I mean, we have some people that are nurses and stuff in our family. But I started actually in Hartsburg when I was 15 as a junior there. And then was there until I think I was like 18. And then... So
before you go on, when you say you started in Hartsburg, like working with the volunteer fire department?
Yep, I was on the volunteer department there.
Okay.
Just kind of helping out the, community. I really got into it though, watching a guy that's pretty much like my second dad. Steve Dom was on, actually an assistant chief on Lincoln City. But grew up with his family, and so I mean, I got to hear everything and watch him go through the job, and it kind of just excited me that like, okay, this is something that sounds good. And then just being able to help people and stuff. I grew up helping my grandparents all the time, so it was just kind of how I was brought up. But then when I think I was about 18. Chief Booth pretty much was like, here's an application, you're applying for Lincoln Rural to be a volunteer. I'm like, oh, I don't know, like I don't think I have time for that. And then it came down to the application time, and they're like, so here's your interview, like you need to come in. I'm like, okay. And so I've been there since I think it was 18, so I've been there for quite a few years. And so I mean, I gotta give them some credit too, because they've helped me a lot along the way too, of getting me to where I'm at today. So they're definitely a big part of it.
Sure. And if you're uncomfortable being on the radio here, you can blame Chris because he's the one who gave me your phone number. So once again, we're chatting with Savannah Conrady, who's the first female firefighter for the city of Lincoln. We'll go ahead and take our first break, but we want to remind you that tomorrow morning on Viewpoint, Dara Entwistle will have Teresa Moore, who is the Logan County Clerk. And so if you have questions or any information you'd like to know from the county clerk, you can certainly do that tomorrow on Viewpoint from 8 a.m. to 8:30 at its new time. But as I mentioned, we have Savannah Conrady here for the next 18 minutes or so. So we will be back with more with Savannah right after this. This live video stream is made possible in part by WLCN's live stream technology sponsor, Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, and online at merealty.com. And we are back on the 4 p.m. 411 until 4:30. We have, once again, Lincoln, the city of Lincoln's first female firefighter, Savannah Conrady, joining us. And once again, we'll invite you to tune in tomorrow to Viewpoint with Dara Entwistle when Teresa Moore, the Logan County Clerk, will be the guest. Viewpoint at its new time from 8 a.m. until 8:30. So you were telling me before the break, Savannah, one of the things that sort of pointed you toward being a firefighter was wanting to help others. You also told me just now off the air there was a special, I don't know, not an event, but something special that you did to kind of give back and help some others. You want to tell the listeners about that?
Yeah, so in August I got to go, it was down in Missouri, but it's a lot of like union firefighters, nurses, teachers, all get together, and it's called the Midwest Children's Burn Camp.
Okay.
And so we all stay down there for a week at this camp at Camp Tomsock, and it is put on for our kids that are burn survivors from the ages 6 to 21.
Oh, wow.
So this was my first year going down there. One of my good friends that I used to volunteer with in Sherman, he was like, you need to come try this out. And I'm like, okay, like I'll do it. And I mean, just the experience, just to be around these kids, I've never met the strongest people in my life. Just how resilient these kids are, and just how fast a lot of them bounce back. And it's nice to see, like, they can, just because they have scars and stuff means nothing, to where they can all come here and share their story and, just feel just like everyone else,
Sure.
But yeah, it's a pretty good experience to be able to go. So I'm hoping next year, I'm excited to go again next year, and I want to make it a yearly thing.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So when you say a camp, is it what most of us would think of with the traditional camp? camp with swimming and
Yes,
maybe
yep,
fishing or boating or whatever?
Yes, the full traditional. And I was excited because I've never, like, I've gone camping and stuff, but, like, I've never got to do, like, the whole, you know, say bye to the parents for a week and go down and hang out with, you know, people and stay in a cabin. And so, yeah, it's the whole traditional camp. We got to go float, horseback riding. And I was with a bunch of, like, the older kids I was, you know, with. And we got to do an overnight hiking and camping trip.
Oh, wow.
It definitely rained on us, but it was definitely a lot of fun, though, and something the kids will never forget.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But, no, it's very memorable to go down there and experience that.
And where you said it was in Missouri?
It's in southern Missouri at Camp Tomstock.
Okay. And once again, if you have questions for Savannah Conrady, 217-648-5510, the number to call, or email us 4pm411@wlcnonline.com. You sold yourself short, young lady. You were telling me off the air that you had a little bit more experience than just volunteering at Hartsburg and applying / being coerced to apply at Lincoln Rural. So there's a little bit more in your background that you bring to the table. It's not just those items as well.
No, so it would have been right after I graduated high school. I actually took a academy class down in Sherman. And then after I took that class, I actually joined the Sherman Fire Department for about 5 years and volunteered down there. And so, I mean, they definitely helped out a lot, too, on getting me to where I'm at today, and just on a lot of hands-on training we got to do. So, yeah.
So when you say hands-on training, I think like someone uneducated like myself, obviously you put out fires. Obviously there's, you know, saving people and maybe some well, first aid, but more than first aid,
right.
You know, immediate care. What other types of things are involved that firefighters learn about?
So, like, a lot of auto extrication we have to learn about. There's, you know, certain things that could go wrong with that, to where we need to know, like, certain safety, like how to use the tools in a certain spot on a vehicle, like vehicles, you know, weak points, and, you know, just kind of going over all the safety of that, but also, like, how to work with a team. Because, I mean, there's a lot going on, and how to stay calm, because it's very chaotic. Just when it's loud, things are going on, you know, you're dealing with the patient, you know, and they're scared, and you're trying to stay calm and keep them calm. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes on.
I'm sure. So you're, in addition to the physical stuff, there's, you know, obviously the mental or the psychological components as well you have to take into account. So you told me you had an interest in helping people, but how to, like, when I think of helping people, I think more of like maybe a medical, like a nursing field, or you know, maybe a counselor or something. Is there something specific that drew you, you know, when you thought of helping people, that I'm going to help people by fighting fires? Like, were you a pyromaniac as a kid?
No. Well, so I did take like a CNA class in high school, and I did work in nursing homes for a little bit. But also, like, a lot of stuff, you know, we don't just do, you know, fires and stuff. Like, we also run medical calls, and that's a lot of what we do, you know, in Lincoln, which is not a bad thing. So it's just, you know, I like it as, you know, I look at it as people are scared, and when we show up, we're their knight in shining armor. Like, it could be just for something simple, but to them, it could be the biggest thing in the world. So it's just, you know, that we show up, you know, in that uniform, and they just have that sigh of relief that, you know, all right, the help is here. I can relax now.
Okay, that's certainly a fair answer. So once again, we're talking with Savannah Conrady, our City of Lincoln first female firefighter. We'll go ahead and take our second break now. Once again, if you have questions, 217-648-5510, the number to call, or you can email us, 4pm411@wlcnonline.com. We will be back with Savannah Conrady for another 10 minutes or so right after this. And we are back on the 4 p.m. 411 for our final segment with Savannah Conrady, the first City of Lincoln female firefighter. And once again, if you have questions, you got just a few minutes to call in, 217-648-5510, the number to call. And our last segment here, I mean, we've been saying it all half hour that you're the first female firefighter for the City of Lincoln. So in that respect, I mean, obviously being the first one, are there are you being treated, just like any other firefighter, just like one of the guys? How are things going in that regard?
So I'm just one of the guys there. No, yeah, all of our training and everything is just as if I was one of the guys.
Okay, so I think that's the best that's what you would want, ideally. So so I did have another question for you, with you being a female going into a traditionally male dominated, I guess, world in terms of the number of employees. If there was someone out there who was thinking of going into a career, like maybe it's changed a little bit lately, but like a male perhaps thinking of going into nursing, or a field that traditionally employs a lot of females, or vice versa, like your situation, a female going into a field where there are a lot of predominantly males who are employed there. Has your experience, is there any nuggets of information or wisdom you can pass along as far as how things have gone for you? If someone is thinking and they're thinking, gee, I'm a guy and it's all these women working in this field. I don't know if you're going to be uneasy with that. Is there anything you can share from your experience?
I'll admit at first I was very hesitant about it, just, being the only female. But I look at it as it's something I've always wanted to do, and something I knew I've always wanted to be, a firefighter. And so I look at it as just be yourself, be the best that you can be. As a female, you do have to put in a lot more training. We don't have a lot of the upper body strength that guys, were born with. So it's definitely something, you got to put in the hard work. And we, when we go, if we have to transport patients to the hospitals or anything, and help, the medics, I see so many, male doctors now, and I like that because, it doesn't matter, like with the nursing field, whether you're a female or male, it shouldn't matter.
Right.
But in my academy class, we had 4 females, and they said it's the most they've ever had, which I thought that was awesome.
And you said there were 64, is that right? So 4 out of 64?
Yep. Yeah, so, but, it doesn't matter male or female, just kick butt and still, just go do your job every day and work as hard as you can. Because, it is nice to see in Lincoln that we're getting, female cops now and stuff again. And so, it's nice to kind of have the girls on the background there. And,
right.
Because, we're all one big family around there anyway, so.
Sure. So, and kind of like you alluded to, if you have if you've done the work and educated yourself and gone through the training, if you're good at your position, doesn't matter if you're male or female or, color of your skin or anything like that, we're all the same underneath, so whatever we can do to help is great. Yep. So let's talk about Savannah Conrady. So you mentioned you started your sort of training or your experience with firefighting in Hartsburg. So are you a native of Hartsburg then, or?
Yes, I am originally born and raised in Hartsburg. I'm still there.
Okay.
Went to Hartsburg High School, graduated in 2016. Never went to college, wasn't my thing. I knew this is what I wanted to do as a trade, so, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said there wasn't you don't come from your dad wasn't a firefighter and your grandpa and so forth. You're
nope,
not
all farmers.
Okay. Was there any, you mentioned you took care of your grandparents that kind of, opened your eyes to wanting to help people. Was there anything else in your family, like anyone in nursing or any sort of a caretaker role?
I've got two cousins that are nurse practitioners, and I thought about going to be a nurse, but I'm like, that is way too long of school, so I was like, I'm not doing that. So that's why I kind of still stuck to my dream that I want to be a firefighter. So
so the calendar right now says 2023. Like in 2033, will we see Chief Savannah Conrady maybe at the fire department?
Not that far out. We got a long way to go.
So what is like a next step, I guess? I'm sure there's more education and seminars, different firefighting techniques and things like that. Is that just sort of a year-round thing, or do you have periodic training that's offered, or how does that work, that you stay on top of things? So
we train every week at the firehouse, do some type of training that our training officer comes up with, just to go back over skills and stuff like that. So like the past couple of weeks we've been doing like ropes and stuff, and confined spaces, just because that's not stuff that we do on a daily basis, and so it's definitely stuff that we got to keep up on our skills. And then like IFSI, they offer so many outside classes that we can do, and like a lot of it's through grants, so a lot of stuff's free for people in Illinois, so that's nice that you can go train. And then there's just so much training that you can do to keep up on your skills.
Is the training, is it predominantly in person, or are there some online things available as well?
Most of it's in person. There's not many like online training stuff that they'll give you unless you have like prerequisites that you have to do before you go to class.
Yeah, I would think watching a fire on a computer screen is far different than actually being there and having to deal with it.
Very much so, yeah.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our show. We'd like to thank Savannah Conrady for being with us, Lincoln's first female firefighter. And if folks are interested in becoming firefighter, male or female, what would be a good first step for them? How could they, like, if there are young girls out there saying, "Wow, I want to be like Savannah," how could they find out more, or get in touch with you or with the department?
They can always get in touch with me. Say, call up to the firehouse or something, or and just ask to talk to me. A big thing is just get yourself physically fit and just start taking tests and start applying places. And but the biggest thing is just make sure you're physically ready to do the job.
Yeah, I'm sure that, like I said, I got tired just listening to you describe it. So once again, Savannah, thanks for being with us. We invite you to tune in tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for the Viewpoint program with Dara Entwistle. She will be talking with Teresa Moore, who is the Logan County Kirk. I'd like to thank Savannah Conrady for being with us again, and we will talk to you next week on the 4 p.m. 411.
This live video stream is made possible in part by WLCN's live stream technology sponsor, Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, and online at merealty.com. The preceding program is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com.